Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. The Earth is located around 3.5 miles southeast of the Earth now. The solar wind is also
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates from wherever you are. We're broadcasting from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our show tonight. Right now we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the nation's national anthem. I would ask everybody to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
let them know it. Let them know it. America's finest right there.
America's finest right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the United States military Army bringing us the national anthem, the Barbershop Quartet Convention 2015. The host of the convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and we really appreciate that. God bless all of our men and women in our military, wherever they might be around the globe. Thank you for your service, and may you all return home safely to your families once your tour of duty ends. And I want to say all of our allied forces as well that are helping us protect the world. Thank you so much for all of your service, and God bless you all. Thank you. Folks, we have a lot to talk about, a ton of stuff, and I'm serious, a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is what is happening with Mawar. Tropical storm Mawar has now left Guam, but not before doing a ton of damage. A ton. I'm going to give you the after action report that we have for this typhoon. Forecasters warned that the island of Guam would wake up a very different landscape this morning, and they were right. While battering the island for 6 to 8 hours during the past 24, Typhoon Mawar's 140-mile-per-hour winds destroyed homes, tore down trees, damaged buildings, and knocked out power to all but a few customers. Mawar did a lot of damage, folks. It's unreal what Mawar did. This is a statue of a king that used to be here on the island. The winds knocked this statue down, broke its ankles. They're going to have to repair it before they can ever put it up again. The storm damaged buildings, tore out trees, destroyed homes, and knocked out power to all but a very few customers. Phone service and water services were disrupted, and water service still is disrupted, and a boil water notice has been issued. Huge waves rolled into shore. Rivers overflowed, and water covered streets and fields. This was a very huge storm, guys. This was a very huge storm. Now the storm has left Guam. In Haganah, Guam, the statue of Chief Kapuha was torn down at the ankles and toppled on its side. Nearby trees were uprooted and branches littered the ground. Although typhoon winds subsided at 2 a.m. this morning, tropical storm winds continued. The government of Guam kept the island of readiness at Condition 1. Officials are still assessing the damage. Landon Adulet, who is a warning coordinator meteorologist for the weather service, said that the island suffered extensive damage from Mawar. It was not the catastrophic storm that forecasters had first feared. He says, "I think we dodged a bullet." A day before approaching Guam, Mawar had reached super typhoon status, and the storm was expected to pass over southern Guam. But Mawar's track shifted, and the system underwent an eye wall change, and what they call an eye wall change. Let me find that. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. That's it right there. You can see the clearly defined eye wall here. Right before the typhoon hit Guam, the eye disintegrated, and when that happens, it comes back, and usually the second wall is even stronger, meaning stronger winds, stronger storm surges, everything. Huge. Okay? When the old eye wall decays, it's replaced by a newer, stronger eye wall. That can cause a shift to the storm's path, and it makes it harder for forecasters to tell exactly where the storm is headed. In this case, Mawar moved to the north instead of the south, passing over northern Guam last night. Much of the island got 9 to 15 inches of rain. 24 inches was recorded in northern Guam at Dededo, D-E-D-E-D-O. Peak conditions persisted for such a long time. He said, "We know people are getting fatigued. While the island can expect a period of cleanup and recovery, the Joint Information Center stated that no serious injuries or deaths were attributed to Mawar." Mr. Adlet said, "I think the island was well prepared for this event. I think they took it seriously." Typhoon Mawar intensified quite a bit as it moved west of Guam. Trailing outer rain bands have lingered nearby. Rainfall was quite heavy, with sites receiving over 20 inches of water rainfall, 508 millimeters of rainfall in just 3 hours, with 5 inches of rain per hour. Telecom companies are beginning to restore service to the island. There's no estimate of return of water service. Guam has returned to condition 4 now, because response efforts are totally underway to restore everything to the way it was before this typhoon hit. Now, folks, there's something else. Okay? Totally something else. Okay, that was there. Hold on a second. I want to show you another picture here. Here we go. This is a picture of a Shell gas station. Gas stations are opening up now. Shell stations opened up in Yigo, Tamuning during the Mawar cleanup. Other stations are also opening. Some mobile and Circle K stations are also open. The Shell station in Upper Tumon is reserved for government first responders, and all other Shell gas stations remain closed according to the company. Government first responders are an initial priority, as we have been working with them to get the fuel that they need to start the recovery efforts and to prepare sites to open safely for the rest of the community. Bill Ada, who is the Director of Retail Operations and Marketing for Shell, is working closely with all the other fuel depots to make sure they also get fuel. He says, "We are assessing the status of each site and focusing on the safety of our customers and our personnel, and we will manage our reopening schedule accordingly." Now, the entire island is assessing damage and the needs of families. The Guam chapter of the American Red Cross is also working on this effort. They are doing a yeoman's job now. They have sent out a lot of people to the island, all over the island, to assess families' needs. And they're even providing monetary funds for families to be able to get some of the help that they need in terms of food and water. The Guam chapter of the American Red Cross has begun assessing typhoon damage in all the villages, and that started happening as soon as the governor gave the all clear. Now, the executive director of the Red Cross there, Cheetah Blaze, also said that the Red Cross eventually will provide financial assistance to affected families. Blaze said that the assistance, which will be in the form of a client assistance credit card, It is not intended to replace items that were lost or destroyed in the storm, but it is to be able to give families the ability to meet their basic needs. An assessment by teams of the Red Cross employees and volunteers must happen first to determine the storm's impact on families and the amount of assistance that they will need. She said several Red Cross volunteers arrived in Guam before Typhoon Mawar made landfall, and more off-island volunteers are on the way, who will be working with local volunteers and workers from the government to also ascertain the service that they will need. Assessment teams will be deployed across the entire island, but will likely focus on northern Guam first, which appears to have experienced the most storm damage. Blaze said the Red Cross will be asking the community to support the recovery effort through monetary donations to the organization. Now this is where everyone else can also get involved. If checks are written and sent to the Red Cross, checks can be made out to the Red Cross to include Typhoon Mawar on the memo line. Any checks that are written and sent to the Red Cross should have Typhoon Mawar on the memo line. On the memo line. This is important. Okay, something else has happened. Now, my friend Carolyn from Denver just told us about a volcano that erupted, and it's important. It's over south of Japan. It's over at Sakurajima. Actually, it's not south of Japan. It's over in Honshu. Sakurajima volcano erupted, a huge eruption of 7,000 foot variety. 7,000 foot eruption. Okay, that's pretty much normal for Sakurajima. Okay, now there's also another volcano that erupted over in Indonesia. This is Lewotolo volcano in Indonesia. This volcano woke up. There is a 2-kilometer exclusion zone that was established around it. Residents have been advised to wear some kind of face covering in order to avoid inhaling the ash and getting in the ash in their eyes or in their mouth or their nose. So folks, let me play this 15-second video for you to show you what happened here. Okay, this was a huge eruption, guys. This volcano erupts about once a year. This is the second eruption in the past 6 months. Okay, it's not the only eruption that's happened though. Many other volcanoes are still erupting, including Fuego, including Popocatépetl, and evacuations are occurring right now in and around the mountain, including over in Mexico City, where people have gotten a lot of ash. A ton of ash, guys. Vehicles, I got a report earlier that vehicles were sliding on the ash. Now, how does that happen? If there's a slight bit of moisture on the ground, it could be in the form of dew from the different humidity in the area, that gets in there with the ash, and ash has tiny pits of or pieces of glass in it. And when that ash gets that way, it gets very slick, and vehicles slip and slide all over the place. Motorcycles, cars, everybody. So if you are in or around Mexico City or in any one of those villages, you need to be exercise very much care walking or driving or even riding bicycles or any kind of motorcycle. Popocatépetl is still erupting up to 10 to 12,000 feet. That's a huge deal as well. So that's what's going on there. Now I want to turn our attention to other things that are happening. Last night we had a earthquake over just northeast of Panama. Look at all the aftershocks that have occurred since that earthquake hit. Okay? Now this was not just an easy earthquake. It was not a 5.0. This was a 6.6 magnitude earthquake. A 6.6 magnitude earthquake. Now I've analyzed all the data. I believe this was indeed a 6.6 magnitude earthquake. Nothing larger, but also nothing smaller than that. I've gone through and poured through the data most of the day. Okay? The data is correct. A 6.6 magnitude earthquake hit over here, just east-northeast of Panama, and it's affected the north parts of Colombia as well, as this is not that far from Colombia. Okay? This is a big deal. I'm going to show you seismograms up in the Pacific Northwest in just a few minutes. Those seismograms also show the powerful earthquake here. This was a powerful earthquake. Now, I want to show you something else. Okay? Let's go down to the USGS map here. Oh, isn't that just like them? Instead of interrupting our program and making it so we have to stop showing the map and go and redo the map now we have to redo it at the beginning of this program. Now, isn't that just peachy king of them? That's okay. We can do this. Not a problem. I just want to show you what is going on. Okay? I'll get back to the United States in just a few minutes. Okay? This is that earthquake down there. Okay? 8 different aftershocks. Most of them in the 4 to 5 range. A couple are also 3.6s. Okay? So it has come down. And I fully expected with the magnitude earthquake that this was, that we might have a lot more aftershocks, but that's not the case. Okay? It's a big deal. It really is. Now, I'm going to back this out because this is very important. Look at nothing here. Nothing's being showed in Central America or over in Mexico. Not a darn thing. Nothing's been shown here in Colombia. Nothing's been shown over here in Peru or Ecuador. Only one lousy earthquake over here in Argentina, at the border of Chile and Argentina. This was a 4.3 magnitude earthquake, 128 kilometers deep. Okay? I want to show you that because, folks, This is just an example of what this agency tries to get away with every day. Now, I'm going to show you a lot more earthquakes. A ton. Okay? I think everybody deserves to know what is going on. And I have always been someone that wants to make sure that we see the clear truth of what is happening. Okay? Now, I want to show you this. Okay? It shows 9 earthquakes over there in that area just northeast of Panama, doesn't it? One of those is a 6.6. The 8 others are all aftershocks. Look at all the earthquakes in Colombia. USGS showed none. 0, zilch. Folks, I'm going to read to you the magnitudes of these earthquakes. It's not big, it really isn't. But I think everybody deserves to know what's going on. 2.4 in Santander. Santander, guys. This is one of the regions that gets hit the most. Santander, Colombia. Okay? 2.4 and 2.0 magnitude earthquakes there. Over here is a 2.1. Okay? In southern Colombia right there. 2.1, 2.4. Then a 2.2. Tufino, Colombia, a 2.3 along the coast, just north of Ecuador. Going further north, 2.4, 2.3, 2.8, 2.8, 1.7. And right next to the earthquakes, we have a 2.2. A 2.2 right there. Okay? Now, given everything there, okay? Look what we have to show in the rest of the western part of South America. Over in Peru, and I'm not going to show you every earthquake, but over in Peru we have a 3.5. Okay? Going south, over here in Parinacota, Chile, a 4.4 there in northern Chile. Then we have 9 other earthquakes right there in northern Chile, in Tarija, Chile. Look at that. Look at all those earthquakes there. All over the place. 2.7. 3.1 in Antofagasta, Chile. Okay? Going south. Off the coast, Atacama, Chile. This is a 2.6. And I'm not going to show you everything. Here's a 2.5 on shore. On land there. That's in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. We go further south, Coquimbo, Chile. Coquimbo, Chile with a 2.5. And I told you yesterday that one of the earthquakes that hit was 2010 with an 8.0 in Coquimbo, Chile. Okay? We go south, 2.9, 2.7, 2.9, O'Higgins, Chile. Okay? There are 28 earthquakes. 28 earthquakes all over South America. USGS showed us 1. Okay? 28 earthquakes. Folks, look at all of the rest of the earthquakes there in Central America. Over in Panama, 3.8, 3.3. There's a 3.8, and just north of there is a 3.3 in Panama. Okay? Then we go north from there. Going up to Nicaragua, 2.8, 3.7, 3.7. We go north. We get into Mexico now. Okay? We have a huge swarm of earthquakes. That's a 3.4. Look at all those earthquakes. 4.4, 4.8, 4.5, 3.8, 3.3, 3.5, all over there. Okay? All over Mexico. USGS shows us nothing. Not a frickin' thing. Unreal, guys. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Now, I want to go over to the Loyalty Islands because the Loyalty Islands are still getting hit. Here is a 5.5 magnitude earthquake here in the Loyalty Islands today. A 5.5 magnitude earthquake today. Last week at this time, they said we had a 7.8. It was actually 8.0. 8.0 magnitude earthquake. And over 300 aftershocks. We did have an aftershock today. It was a 4.72 moderate earthquake. The other earthquakes down here in the South Pacific are all down here in New Zealand. We have two earthquakes. We have two earthquakes down here in South Park National Park here in New Zealand. These are 2.8s and 2.7s. Now I'm going to go over here to the North Island. I want you to see this. Okay? Look at all the earthquakes everywhere. Over here in the Cook Strait, we have two 2.7s and 2.8s here. Over here, we have a super volcano. We have a super volcano right here. Over just north and west of that super volcano, we have a 2.3. Not a big deal, except it's right next to the super volcano. And just southwest from there we have a 2.23 right next to the volcano. Okay? The rest of these are 2s and 3s. The rest of these around New Zealand are 2s and 3s, mostly offshore. Offshore. Okay? That's there. Now, over in Indonesia, USGS would show you two earthquakes. Two earthquakes. Guess what, folks? There's 28 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 28 earthquakes here in Indonesia. There's also 3 earthquakes in the Philippines. USGS shows us nothing. Okay? Jeez, come on, you stupid thing. Okay. Northeast of Mindanao, Philippines, we have a 3.8. 3.8. Going up into the central Philippines? Oh, no kidding. Now it doesn't want to show us. Anyway, these also are 3s here. Both of these in the central Philippines. Now, Typhoon Mawar is headed right here. Okay? It's out in the Pacific still, right out here. But it's headed right for Luzon, Philippines here. It'll hit the northern coast of Luzon, Philippines, probably sometime in the next 72 hours. Now, what you need to know about Typhoon Mawar, it's now up to 180 miles per hour winds. Winds are 180 miles per hour. Crazy. Just insane wind speeds. Okay? I have a feeling that if the truth be known, the wind speeds of this typhoon are probably going to be very close to 200 miles per hour. This indeed will be a super typhoon, or should we say a hurricane on the Simpson-Safford scale. A Category 5 hurricane right now. They call it a typhoon over there. That's a heavy-duty hurricane Category 5. That's a monster. Hurricane Heather says Cat 5 now. Yes, it is. After it left Guam, those speeds went up significantly. And now it's 180 miles per hour. One more earthquake southeast of Taiwan. This was a 5.2 large earthquake just southeast of Taiwan today. Nobody felt it. Nobody felt it over there in the waters of the Pacific. Okay? Now, over here, and this is where I thought the volcano was over in Japan, because I didn't know about it before I came on the air. There's also a volcano right here. Suisejima volcano is right here. Today, there's an earthquake here. It's a 2.6 magnitude earthquake here. Suisejima volcano is right there. But that's not what happened. Okay? That's not what happened. Sakurajima is right over here in Japan. And it just erupted up to 7,000 feet. Okay? Not too big a deal. South of Tokyo, over here just south of Tokyo, this is, oh, come on. I was afraid that was going to happen. This is Toshima, Japan. We have a 2.6 magnitude earthquake here, just south of Tokyo. Now, we go up to Russia here. Okay? This is, come on. This is Sakhalin Oblast, Russia. This is a 3.4 magnitude earthquake. Sakhalin Oblast, Russia, a 3.4 earthquake. This is Hokkaido, Japan, just to give you an idea of where it's at. It's north of Hokkaido, up here in Russia, on that great big huge island. Now, we don't have any more earthquakes anywhere near Kamchatka Peninsula, but I have a feeling they're coming. They're coming. Over here in the Aleutian Islands, we only have 2 earthquakes today. We had a 4 here yesterday. Now we don't have that. We have a 2.4 here near Adak, Alaska. Okay? We go further east. Oh, come on. I don't know why it's doing this. This is further west. This is a 0.42 microquake. We usually don't get microquakes out here in the middle of the Aleutian Islands. Okay? Typically it doesn't happen. But I want to show you this. This is right at a volcano. Right at a volcano. A microquake at a volcano here. Usually we don't see those microquakes there. Not in this location. Okay? Usually we get tremors, we get full-blown earthquakes, but not microquakes in that location. Now, I want to show you Alaska. We're not going to spend a great deal of time here. There's 68 earthquakes here in Alaska. It doesn't look like it, but there's 68 earthquakes here in Alaska. Okay? They're literally all over southern Alaska. And there's one down here in the Gulf of Alaska. Oh, come on. There's one down here in the Gulf of Alaska. It's only a 3.4. Now there's a method to my madness why I'm showing you this. Okay? I'm going over to southeastern Alaska. Yakutat, Alaska. We have a 2.3. Okay? Southeastern Alaska. And we have a swarm of earthquakes there. Okay? We've got a 2.3. We have a 3.8. We have a 2.1. And I can't somehow, let me see if I can try to bring up the other one. 3.1, 2.1, 3.8, 2.3, and I got the other one, it's only a 1.9. Okay, there's a swarm of earthquakes there. Okay, now, that's also near a volcano. We go south. Southeastern Alaska, 2.2. 2.2 there. We go south, more south now, still Yakutat, Alaska, a 1.74. Okay? Now, over in northern British Columbia, Canada, okay? Over here, Telegraph Creek, we have a 1.91. It's a tremor there in British Columbia, Canada. We go south over to Queen Charlotte Island, and they're not being honest with us here. There were 2 earthquakes here before. Okay? We're showing a 2.16. There was also a 2.68 here. This is a 2.16. There was a 2.68 here just a little bit ago. They took one down. Then off the coast of Vancouver, and actually you might even say this one is also off the coast of Seattle as well. This is over on the Juan de Fuca Fault. It's on the Juan de Fuca Fault. 2 of them. We have a 1.45 and a 1.51 on the Juan de Fuca. So the Cascadia subduction zone is still getting hit. That's what I wanted to show you here. The subduction zone on the north end is getting hit. Now, with that said, over in Princeton, Canada, this is still in British Columbia, Canada, we have a 2.34. That 2.34 here is right next to a great big huge quarry. That might even be a quarry blast, except it's a deeper quake. It's a 2.34 earthquake. Okay? This is a 1/4 of a mile deep. A 2.34 earthquake. Princeton, Canada, and this time it's right next to a quarry blast, literally. Okay? Then we go north. Okay? There's also an earthquake even north of there. This is in Fort St. John, Canada. This one is a 1.76 tremor. Fort St. John, Canada, just south of there. Oh, you stupid thing. Just south of Fort St. John is a 3.0, 41 miles northeast of Grande Cache, Alberta, Canada. Okay? A 3.01 magnitude earthquake near Grande Cache, Alberta, Canada. This is in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. The Rocky Mountains of Canada. Why am I telling you this? We have seismic energy in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. This is also going to continue to go south into the Rocky Mountains of the United States, Montana and Wyoming. That's probably the next place it's going to go. All right? Now, with that said, okay, I want to show you where that earthquake is. It's right up here in the northern Rocky Mountains here. Down here in the United States, we have two earthquakes here. Actually, three. Come on, you crazy thing. This is Montana. It's a 1.48. South there, we have three other earthquakes. A 0.60 and a 0.43 right together, and one just south of there. This is Warm River, Idaho. It's a 0.9 microquake, or a 1.0 tremor. Okay? That's in Montana and Wyoming. All right? Now, I showed you that earthquake, or earthquakes, off of the Juan de Fuca plate. Okay? Yes, we're going to show you seismograms in just a minute of Cascadia. Okay? I want to go over here. This is just northwest of Rainier. This is 0.65 microquake. Right there. Carbonado, Washington. Just northwest of Mount Rainier. I want to go down here now. Okay? Let's show you this. This is Mount Hood. This is Government Camp. This is a 0.52 microquake. Government Camp, Mount Hood. Okay? Notice where they have this earthquake. Okay? They have a government camp. Guess what? Government camp is right here. This earthquake is further west. Yes, it is in the foothills of Mount Hood. Granted. But they're misidentifying the location. Okay? Rather unfortunate, huh? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Really quickly, before I get started talking about Cascadia, I want to show you this. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is just barely west-northwest of the San Francisco Zoo on the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Just a 1.1 over on the San Andreas Fault, just west of the San Francisco San Francisco Bay Area. Just to the east of the San Francisco Bay Area, we have a 2.17 in San Leandro, California. Right next to the Bay Area there. Okay? Then we go northeast. This is Antioch, California. This is a 2.2 magnitude earthquake in Antioch, California. This one is on the Calaveras Fault. This one over here in San Leandro, that, folks, is on that great big other fault. Okay? The Hayward Fault. And then further south, also just barely northeast of Monterey Bay, San Martin, California, we have a 0.73 tremor, microquake. Okay? And just south of that, also on the San Andreas Fault, Tres Pinos has a 0.5 tremor there. Okay? So that's what's going on in Northern California. I just wanted to make that clear what's happening. Let's go take a look at seismograms. I knew most people would love to see this. Kimberly Hopkins says the East Bay Area, my old stomping grounds. I've been up there quite a bit in my lifetime. I think actually the Bay Area was like a second home when I was a kid, because I had cousins there up in Moraga, California. Loved seeing my cousins. Loved it. Folks, I'm showing you now a seismogram coming from Mount Rainier. Okay? This is a seismo from Mount Rainier. This, folks, is Camp Muir. Look at all the activity here. They tried to tell us that there was one microquake over northwest in Carbonado, Washington. Look what we see here. This is completely different. This shows a ton of microquakes, and it's also showing us earthquakes here. This seismogram started at 10 p.m. last night. Look what's happened. Just after 10 p.m., guys, just after 10 p.m., just about 11:50 p.m. last night, we had a 2.8 magnitude earthquake right there. That's up near the top of this seismogram. All right? Then we go down into the first part of the morning here. Look at all these tremors all over the place. All over the place. Then just about 4:32 a.m. this morning, we had what appears to be a 2.0 magnitude earthquake. But wait, this seismogram has been downsized. Okay? So what we're looking at here looks like it's a 2.0 earthquake. But folks, this is probably close to a 3.0 earthquake, because they've turned down the power on the seismogram. Look at all these other earthquakes here as well. There's a ton of tremors. You can see that. And those small tiny lines here on this seismogram, if those tiny lines don't have a dot in the middle of them, those are actually steam signatures. Those are steam signatures here, guys. This volcano is very busy. We're getting earthquakes, not tremors. We've got a bunch of tremors and microquakes, but they try to pass off a microquake to us to let us think that nothing's happening here at this volcano. Look what you're seeing. Look at all these earthquakes here. Okay? I'm counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 earthquakes, at least 2.0 or larger. And all those tremors here as well as steam. Mount Rainier is busy. It's very busy. Now, just in case you thought that was all that's going on at Mount Rainier, let me show you something else. Now, I'm going to pull this down. Folks, this is a spectrogram. This shows heat from the magma beneath the surface of this volcano. Down at the bottom is where all that hot, superheated magma is. All that melt. Look over here to the right bottom. Okay? That melt lets us know of its presence right there. And we can see these violet lights here. These violet lines, I should say. Bluish gray or bluish green lines here. All that heat is hitting the surface as well. It's going to the surface. And over on the left-hand side here at the top of this, you see the heat hitting the surface. Okay? Mount Rainier is active. The surface of the mountain is heating up. Okay? Now, I tried to pull other information from Emerald Ridge, for example. But the agencies have made it so that there is no good information from Emerald Ridge. They have messed with the seismograph, so there's no current information from Emerald Ridge. The only thing I could get was this spectrogram from Para, which is southeast of Mount Rainier. But you can still see the melt that's shown there, all the heat. Okay? I think that every volcano should be able to show it. And yes, they do have seismographs that can show melt. But not every seismograph is such that it is letting us see it. They doctor the information. Okay? I want to show you that to you. I want to go now over to Mount St. Helens. I'm going to show you two seismograms coming from Mount St. Helens, only because they've messed with the other seismograms and they're not available. This is East Dome, Mount St. Helens. Okay, now let me reduce it in size so you can actually see what's going on at Mount St. Helens. The same thing holds true that was true with Mount Rainier. This seismogram started recording information at just 10 p.m. last night. But again, look at the earthquakes here. Okay? Just after midnight this morning. That's a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. And it lasted a long time. The secondary wave lasted nearly a full minute. So this was not a 2.0 earthquake. This was actually larger. But we don't have a magma churn signal to show us how far they turned down this seismograph that recorded this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't even see this. Yes, we do have a magma churn signal. Okay, it's over here on the right here. See this sideways rectangle? These magma churn signals are supposed to be 23 to 24 lines high. This one covers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. That means this seismogram is only showing us about 25 or 26% of what it's really supposed to show. So even if we multiplied what we see here by 2, if we did it by 3, this would be upwards of a 4.4 magnitude earthquake. This one right here in the center of your screen here, the top center. That'd be like a 4.4 magnitude earthquake. Yes, it is even possible. It's even possible. But they want us to believe that nothing's going on here. Okay? But look at all these other earthquakes too. Look at over here above that magma churn signal. That great big glob of magma. Okay? It has lines going through it, doesn't it? Those lines are tremors or earthquakes caused by that magma going in through the magma chamber of this volcano, causing earth movement, rock fracturing. And you can see these lines going down and rising up. Probably 2.3 magnitude earthquakes. That's how long those lines are. The lines going out to the right from this magma churn signal are showing steam coming from the magma. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. So when that magma heats up to 2,000, 3,000 degrees, ladies and gentlemen, what does it do to the water in the magma? It makes it evaporate, doesn't it? And that water or steam comes up through that rock that's holding the magma inside the volcano. That great big huge plug that's holding that lava inside. Okay? That plug. All that magma has been doing is hitting that plug for a very, very long time, since it last erupted. And that magma has been pounding on that plug. And as a result of that magma hitting that plug from underneath, there are fissures that have opened up in that plug. And that great big huge lava plug at the top of the volcano. And those fissures allow hot steam to escape the plug, just like that. And the hot steam also enlarges those fissures. That's a simple physics question. That hot steam enlarges those holes. And pretty soon, at some point, that plug is going to disintegrate. It's going to pop from the pressure of the magma from underneath that plug. It's going to pop. And that's when we'll have a volcanic eruption at Mount Rainier. Okay? This one is Mount St. Helens. The same thing applies here at St. Helens. And you can see all the activity here. And down here we have another representation of the magma churn signal again. It's the same thing. It's the exact same size. Okay? But you see these tremors here. Literally up and down this entire seismogram. Okay? These volcanoes are very active. They're very, very active. One more at Trade Dollar Lake, just north of Mount St. Helens. Trade Dollar Lake. We see the same thing, kind of thing happening at Trade Dollar Lake. Look at all the tremors here. And you can actually see magma on each line. Each horizontal line here represents 15 minutes of time. On each of these lines, we're seeing thicker and thinner lines here. The thicker and thinner lines are magma coming into the magma chamber. The thicker the lines, the more magma that's coming in. And you can see that here. And you see these vertical lines where we see a great deal of magma coming through, because that magma is fracturing the rock inside the volcano. And you can see it here. Look at all this. There's another magma churn signal, isn't there? Okay? Let's kind of zoom in here and take a look at it. Let's count how many lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines here. So this seismogram is only like 26% of real world. Okay? Can't be any more than that. But you can see earthquakes here as well, especially down here underneath this magma churn signal. Look at those earthquakes. Okay? Those are probably 3.0 earthquakes, each of them. We can't see totally the line going to the top, reaching out to the top of this earthquake here. We can see it going down, but if we double that, this is nearly a 3.0 earthquake, both of them. And the thicker the lines here represents a matter of time. Seconds that this earthquake was shaking. Yes, seconds here in each of these cases. 2 or 3 seconds apiece. That's still a lot of shaking. And you can see these other vertical lines here. If there's no dot in the middle of these vertical lines, those are steam signals here at Mount St. Helens, and you can clearly see there's steam signals here. Okay? It's unreal, guys. It really is. Now that's Mount St. Helens. Let's go down to Mount Hood. Remember they tried to pass off that tremor that was west of Mount Hood? Okay? Now the same thing applies to Mount Hood as with those other volcanoes. They've doctored the seismograms. So no other real seismograms are available to show us what is going on here at Mount Hood, except this one. This is Timberline. The Timberline seismogram is at government camp. Okay? Look at this. Look at that. Each horizontal line represents 15 minutes of time for a total of 24 hours. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the volcano. It's called magma infill. The thicker the lines, the more magma. The thinner lines, less magma. Okay? Magma pulse signals is what you're seeing here. Magma pulse signals that are showing incoming magma. And the vertical lines going through the magma here is rock fracturing caused by the magma entering the volcanic chamber. And you can see that clearly here. As we go down through the day here, look what we see. More and more magma here. This afternoon especially. Look at that. 1500 hours is 3 p.m. over on the left-hand side. So just about 3 p.m., 2:45, 3 p.m. is where we had a huge magma display. A huge amount of magma coming into the magma chamber, completely obliterating the white of the paper. Look at that. That's a ton of magma. Okay? This magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano would cause earthquakes, and that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing vertical lines going through this display of magma. Okay? Some of those could be earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. Some of that Could be tremors. It could be. But we continue to see these horizontal lines getting thicker and thinner here. And at the very bottom over on the right hand side center, look at that display there. Folks, USGS on their map did not show any earthquakes at Mount Hood. This display over on the bottom right of this seismogram shows earthquakes. Magma coming into the magma chamber causing earthquakes. These earthquake signals are long vertical lines is what we're talking about. This would be at least a 2.2 magnitude earthquake over on the left hand side one. The right one would probably be a 1.7, 1.8 tremor. If this is real. But I've already shown you a magma churn signal that would say otherwise. Okay? This seismogram has been turned way down. The machine, the seismograph, is turned way down. So the seismogram still is not showing us really the right information. It's only showing us what they want us to see. Okay? But still, this is a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here. A ton of it. Excuse me. Let me get a sip of water here. Now, I want to show you something else. Bachelor Volcano is south of Mount Hood, right? Well, guys, this is what they're showing for Bachelor Volcano. Nothing but constant horizontal lines. And they're not getting thicker at all. This is not normal. This has been going on for nearly 2 years now. About 2 years ago, they started altering what we would see here at Mount Bachelor. It's not showing anything. Nothing at all. This seismogram doesn't show anything but horizontal lines. That's not normal for any of these seismograms either. No seismogram ever has just shown nothing but horizontal lines. It's fake. This is called abstract. They've made a picture here and posted it on the Bachelor seismogram to show nothing going on. And we know that's just not right. Because seismograms above, to the side to the east, and to the west, and to the south show a lot going on at all of these volcanoes. So there's no way in heck that this one here at Mount Bachelor is correct. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. But I'm going to show you something here, guys. I'm going down to Mount Newberry now. Newberry Volcano. Look at this. Okay? Up at the top of this seismogram, and this at the very top was 10 p.m. last night. As we go through here, you see more and more magma coming into the magma chamber, don't we? And we see some tiny vertical lines, tremors caused by magma fracturing rock entering the magma chamber. But what is this? Just after 3 a.m. All these VLF waves here. Guess what this was? This was that 6.6 magnitude earthquake in Panama. Why did we not see the same kind of signature on the other seismograms? Because, folks, they cleansed it from the other seismograms, didn't they? You didn't see them on the others, but you see it here, and you're going to see it on a few others as well. They cleaned it up. Okay? So again, they've altered the seismogram. And I heard a seismologist tell me quite a few years ago, if one part of the seismogram is altered, the whole thing is false. You can't trust it. Okay? That's what a seismologist told me years ago. If one part of the seismogram has been altered, it's all bad. But here we can clearly see that magma is coming into Newberry Volcano. Then we see the 6.6 in Panama. The 6.6 rang clearly all over the world. All over the world. Okay? Here, going through the rest of the day here, we don't see a whole lot of activity, do we? Just barely. Just barely. Then, the middle of the afternoon, look what we see. All of a sudden, we see magma coming into the volcano. They turned up the seismograph. Up here, they turned it down, didn't they? After the 6.6 earthquake hit, they turned it down, way down, where it's not registering, literally. This afternoon, after 2 o'clock, all of a sudden it's showing something, isn't it? Okay, look at that. There's still magma coming into this volcano. Newberry Volcano is very active, guys. It's very active. It has always been active, regardless of what this agency tries to put out here. All these volcanoes are very active. You can't lie. These agencies are trying to pass it off, but you can't lie about this. Okay, look at this. This is Sisters Volcano, just south of Newberry. There are 3 volcanoes there at the Sisters Complex. Sisters North, Sisters Central, and Sisters South. 3 separate volcanoes being monitored by one seismograph. One single channel seismograph. It doesn't show us anything else going off or going on at the Sisters Volcanic Complex. Let's enlarge this so we can look at it. Look at this. Right off the bat, last night, started off in the seismogram here at 10 p.m. last night. We're showing magma coming into the magma chamber here, aren't we? And then again, just about 3 a.m. this morning, we see the 6.6 earthquake hit over there in Panama. You can see the VLF waves going. That earthquake rattled off for an hour. And you can see it even longer than that. These these wavy lines here lasted until after about 5 a.m. this morning. So this thing started at 3. Guess what? Just on this seismogram alone, we show 2 hours of body wave. I'll bet there's even more than that, I guarantee it. This 6.6 probably had 8 hours or more of body wave. Okay? But again, look throughout this thing, throughout this seismogram. Okay, look at that. Look at that great period of time where almost nothing happens. They turned it down, way, way down. And all of a sudden this afternoon, late morning this afternoon, guess what happens? They turn it back up. More and more magma coming into the magma chamber. Where these are huge magma balls coming into the magma chamber. Where is the magma to support it? It doesn't show much magma to support this great big huge ball or glob of magma. Okay? Guess what? They need to turn the seismogram, they need to turn the seismograph up. They're not telling the truth here. Now, see that area here where the lines are very thick? What are they doing here? All of a sudden we have a great big thick line. It just didn't start. Thick lines do not just start. And that's what they're trying to purport here. They don't end like this did in the light blue here on the left. It doesn't end like that. It goes from thinner and the lines get larger and larger until we have a thick line. Then over here at the end, it goes from thick and gets thinner and thinner and thinner, not abruptly stops. So that part of the seismograph is screwed up. The seismogram is not true right here. Okay? They're playing with it. And you see plenty of magma here below that. A lot of tremors hitting. These vertical lines here with dots are tremors. There's a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. Down here at the bottom, you see these thicker lines getting thicker and then getting thinner again, and getting thicker and getting thinner again. That's what normally happens. Okay? And the vertical lines are tiny tremors. Okay? That's what really happened here. Okay? That's Sister's volcano. I'm going to show you one more here in Oregon. It's called Crater Lake. This one at Crater Lake is Crater Lake Cleetwood Cove. This is over on the northeast side of this volcano. Crater Lake is a huge mountain. Okay? It's got an alpine lake at the top of it. Okay? This mountain is pretty tall to have an alpine lake in it. That's cold, isn't it? That's why they call it an alpine lake. Okay? What do we have here? Okay? I'm letting you see from the very top, starting out at 10 p.m. last night, just a little bit of magma. Each of these lines represents 15 minutes of time. Okay? Then it changes over to midnight. So after midnight, we still have magma showing on each line. Incoming magma into the volcano. The seismograph, the machine, is turned way down, or these lines would be thicker. But all of a sudden, guys, what happened? And it happened right before the Panamanian earthquake started. Over here on the right-hand side. Okay? This is at 2:59 a.m. this morning. 2:59 a.m. this morning. No, actually, I'm sorry. My bad. This is at 3:14 a.m. this morning. You see that blue, the dark blue line here, the vertical line. Those are tremors building up to an earthquake, huh? Over here at 3:15, what do we see? Okay, this was not the Panamanian earthquake. This is an earthquake here at Crater Lake. And if we look at the length of these lines here, this is at least a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Then we look out to the right. Okay? We have a lot of secondary wave. The taller lines here are primary waves. Okay? These lesser lines out to the right are secondary waves of the earthquake. they're tight together. Okay, we're seeing 3 minutes of secondary wave before it gets to the point where it's body wave. We don't have 3 minutes of secondary wave with a 2.0, 2.2 or 2.3 magnitude earthquake. This earthquake was indeed a lot larger than they're showing. Probably close to a 3 to 4.0 earthquake at Crater Lake. Then after that, we see the Panamanian earthquake, the 6.6 hit. And again, you see these lines go into a VLF type of wave. Okay? The Panamanian earthquake. Then after that, we see more and more magma coming into the magma chamber. They've turned up the seismograph here. Turned up the seismograph. They're actually showing a lot of magma here. Okay? That's what they should have done all along. Turned up the seismograph, and to be honest with us. Okay? So we see a lot of magma here with this volcano, Crater Lake. Then just about 8:45, 9 a.m., they start turning the machine down again. We have very thin lines here. Totally thin. This afternoon, we start seeing a little bit thicker lines, but nothing really. Okay? We see these magma signals here. These are pulse magma signals just barely making it through the electronic turndown of the machine. Okay? It shouldn't be very thin, it should be thicker magma infill signals. So they played with this seismograph, haven't they? Oh, totally. Totally played with this seismograph. Now, the Cascade Mountain range extends down into Northern California. This is the last volcano, the southernmost volcano in Oregon. Let's drop down into California. I'm going to show you Mount Shasta, just one seismogram from Mount Shasta. This seismogram has also been played with. The machine has been turned way down. Okay, you can see that. These thin lines don't really exist on a normal seismogram. This earthquake did happen. Okay, this earthquake did happen. This seismogram started off at 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon. This earthquake here, this earthquake started at approximately 8:12, 8:10 p.m. last night. The red line is computer generated to get the seismologist's attention. This earthquake, folks, was about a 3.0 magnitude earthquake. A 3.0 magnitude earthquake. Look out to the right. We see 2.5 minutes of secondary wave. This had to have been this had to have been at least a 3.0 earthquake, probably larger than that. Probably larger than that. We hardly ever see a secondary wave for a 3.0 earthquake like this. Okay? 2.5 minutes of secondary wave before it even becomes body wave. That's still a lot of shaking going on. So this is probably a 4.0 earthquake. And then they've turned the seismographs down, or seismograph here in this case, just one. There's 10 seismographs located all around each of these volcanoes. 10 of them around Mount Shasta, 12 of them around Mount Lassen. Okay? But they turn it down. Because, folks, what are we seeing here? We're basically seeing the same lines. the same lines. And right here, just after 11:30 last night, about 11:38 last night, they turned the seismograph off for about 8 minutes. They turned, well, actually 6 minutes. I'll give it 6 minutes. Turned it off. There's nothing there. Then further along this morning, you see a magma pulse signal. A magma pulse signal. The lines are getting thicker here, and then they get a little bit thinner and get thicker again. Globs of magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. And they have little tiny lines going through the magma blobs. Those are tremors caused by the magma fracturing rock inside the volcano. Then here, I want to really show you this. This, folks, you see are vertical lines with curly hue on them. Again, the red line is generated by the computer to let the seismologist know, hey, there's something good here you need to see. This, folks, is a steam signature. This happened at about 6:35 this morning. That was a good sized steam signal. Okay? Look at the rest of it. Not much of anything except one glob of magma over here on the right. It does not just happen that way. They mess with this seismogram. They mess with it. We're showing an earthquake, yes, but they've even messed with that. They turned it down. How dare they mess? How dare they mess? We pay taxes to make sure that we get accurate information, but they mess with us. Okay? Let's go take a look at Mount Lassen. Again, Mount Lassen has about 12 seismographs all around the volcano. Okay, let me enlarge this for you so you can adequately see what's going on. This seismogram, ladies and gentlemen, started off at 1500 hours yesterday. That's 3 p.m. Look at the magma signatures here. There's a lot of magma coming into this volcano. The magma pulse signals indicate a lot of magma coming in, and then the thinner lines, less magma, and the thicker lines again with more magma. Magma infill signals, pulse magma signals. Okay? Look at that. A lot of magma here. And you actually see probably a 1.4, I'm not saying 1.4, I should say maybe a 1.6 magnitude tremor over there on the left-hand side there. Okay? That just happened after about 19:05 hours last night, 7:05 p.m. Okay? And then on the lighter, the darker blue line here, below that, that was 2000 hours, so this event happened probably about 20:08 hours, which is 8:08 p.m. Just a small amount of magma coming into the magma chamber, causing rock fracturing. You see those vertical lines going through the magma line. Rock fracturing in the volcano. Again, this red line here that you see is generated by the computer. It's showing a steam signal here at Mount Lassen. You can also see earthquakes here. Over on the left-hand side, after 1:30 this morning. After 1:30 this morning, probably 1:32, 1:33 this morning. Okay, that, folks, is at least a 2.5, 2.8 magnitude earthquake. Over on the right before that, on the second line above that, on the right-hand side, that looks to be a 3.0 small earthquake. Okay, the line's got a dot in the middle of it, which makes it an earthquake. It's a long line, a 3.0 magnitude earthquake. Okay? Then you still see the magma pulse signals going on. a little bit of magma starts getting in there, a tremor happens from rock fracturing by the magma. And we see that happening here. Then, folks, early this morning, just after 9 a.m. this morning, all of a sudden we see a lot of magma coming into Mount Lassen. Look at that. That's a ton of magma. You see red lines here. Those are computer generated, letting the seismologists know, hey, you need to look at this. Look at that. Look at the vertical lines going through here. Those are earthquakes caused by rock fracturing inside the volcano. Those are long lines, guys. Those are 3.0 earthquakes at least. I don't have a magma churn signal to tell us how far they turn this seismograph down, but it goes up and down. They didn't keep it down, they turned it up and down, and then back up again. That's an awful lot of activity at Mount Lassen today. That's a lot of activity at Mount Lassen. Now, folks, we're not going to go any further tonight with the Cascade volcanoes. Mondays and Thursdays are relegated to Cascadia events unless there's something else happening that we need to talk about. And yes, we talked about an awful lot of things, including Mawar Typhoon over in the southern Atlantic. This is a big deal. It's huge. It's going to go over north of Luzon, Philippines. It could actually even hit Taiwan. The outer bands of that typhoon could hit Taiwan as well before it gets to the Philippines. Does anybody have any questions for me tonight? I showed you an awful lot of stuff. Okay? We talked about volcanoes as well. Anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about? Hurricane Heathers can't confirm a 6.9 in Ridgecrest. Let's go over to the side let's go over to the USGS map and see what the USGS map has to tell us. Now again, we can't trust the map. Okay? It's just impossible to trust the map. We'll try. We'll see what we come up with here. Let's zoom in on Southern California here. Nope, we do not see anything on the USGS map. I'm going to zoom in on the earthquake right here. This is Johannesburg, California. This is south. It's on the Garlock Fault, but it's south of Ridgecrest area. It's a 2.3 earthquake south of Ridgecrest. I don't see anything up here except in Cerros Valley, which is a 1.5 tremor. Let's go to look at the EMSC map here to see if it's got anything. Actually, before I go to the EMSC map, I'm going to stop at Earthquake Tracker and see if it's come up with anything. I don't see anything on Earthquake Tracker either. Earthquake Tracker is telling us about a 4.8 earthquake down in the western Antarctic Ridge, a 4.8 earthquake that happened 1 hour ago. And prior to that, over in the Andaman Islands, north of Indonesia, is a 4.8 there as well. I don't see anything listed here, right here, showing Ridgecrest. It just shows the western Indian Antarctic Ocean. Let's go over to the EMSC map here and see if we have anything. Okay. By the way, guys, okay, Well, I'm showing you, and they just froze my map here. No, they didn't. I'm showing you the earthquakes right now over there in the Mojave Desert. Okay? I'm going to show you this. This is a 1.5 in Searles Valley. Okay? This earthquake right here is a 1.5. I'm going to look at the other earthquakes here going north here. North from there. A 0.78 is 0.94. A 1.8 in Ridgecrest. Okay, this is a 1.8 in Ridgecrest right there. Alright? Then north from there. This is Little Lake, California with a 0.85 microquake. Little Lake, California with a 0.85 microquake. Then we go north from there. This is Cal Fire San Bernardino unit. This is a 1.8 minor tremor here. Cal Fire San Bernardino unit, a 1.8 microquake there. Or not microquake, a tremor. Okay, Cal Fire has a fire station there. I don't see anything more coming through here showing Ridgecrest at all. Folks, if anything does happen at Ridgecrest, we will come on the air to talk about it. It would be a big deal. We have not had any earthquakes in 4 years that have been substantial earthquakes at Ridgecrest. Yes, we've had 1.2s, 2.2s, 3.0s. We've not had anything over 3.0 in 4 years since that 7.1 earthquake hit on July 4th. Okay? Now, just to give you everybody a refresher course, maybe people are brand new here, so I'm going to talk about this for just a minute. Before that 7.1 earthquake hit over here at Ridgecrest, and yes, I'm highlighting that earthquake in Searles Valley here. Okay? Let me move over here. That's Searles Valley. That's Searles Valley. This is a Ridgecrest quake here that I'm showing you here. It's a 1.8 tremor. Nothing more than a 1.8 tremor here at Ridgecrest, California, showing you right now. Okay? And this tremor hit at 1:03 p.m. Eastern Time. So 3 hours earlier than that would be 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So that earthquake hit at just after 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Okay? The day before the Ridgecrest quake, on July 3rd, there were 2 other earthquakes that hit back to back. Both of them were at least 6.9 magnitude quakes. USGS took one of them off the map and said, no, that never happened. They reduced the other to 6.4. Still a very strong earthquake. 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. Okay? But both of them were 6.9 earthquakes. 2 separate and distinct earthquakes, 2 separate and distinct locations. I still have the records from that day. So we had 2 6.9, 7.0 earthquakes. Okay, you can't trust the agency. We've proven that. So we had 2 6.9, 7.0 earthquakes on July 3rd. On July 4th, just about 12 noon, all of a sudden heck broke loose with a 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Ridgecrest, California. And all kinds of 5s and 6s hitting all over this area. Prior to this happening, folks, there was more than that. This entire region from San Diego County north. Now, yes, I'm backing out here. I want to show you San Diego County north. Okay? Right here. I'm showing you North San Diego County on north all the way to Ridgecrest. This whole area was covered in tremors and minor quakes. 1.0, 1.2, 1.7, 1.6, 1.5, 1.9, 2.2, 2.5, 2.7, 2.9, that kind of thing. And 3.0s, 3.5s, small earthquakes. 3.0, 3.9, small earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes, 4.0 to 4.9. Those also happen prior to the major quake, prior to that 7.1 quake. We even had some 5s before the major quake. Then at noon on July 4th, we had the 7.1 quake. Some people believe it was larger than that. I was not calculating the veracity of earthquake imaging. I was not worried about it at that point in time. I became worried about it after that when I found out that these earthquakes were larger. They were larger. And they were doing more damage than what they said the earthquake was. That's when I delved in to the problem of looking at what the earthquake really was, following all the data. And that's what I've done ever since. Okay? This is a big deal. That's a big deal. Now, so far we have not seen that increase here. And we would have seen it here on this seismogram. Okay? CPA 237 says he only sees the 6.6 in the Western Caribbean, just northeast of Panama and Colombia. Okay? That's all that's here right now. Okay, I don't see anything. I don't think anything else will happen here. Just really quickly. Okay? No, we did not show these other earthquakes coming down the San Andreas today. Okay? Over here west of San Andreas, Los Olivos, a 1.8 tremor. This one here is northeast of Ojai, California. It's a 1.5. Further south here is Sylmar, California. It's also 1.5. Then we go west offshore from Malibu Beach. Malibu Beach, California. This is a 1.6 offshore from Malibu. Okay? Offshore from Malibu, California. Okay? Then we have the Channel Islands. Okay? Avalon Island here off the coast of Los Angeles. Okay? The next earthquakes we have, this, folks, is over here on the San Jacinto Fault. The San Jacinto Fault. This is 0.8 in Valley Vista. This is a 1.0 in Idlewild, California, which is a place I truly love, out in the hills of San Bernardino Mountains. It's a skiing community. There are a bunch of cabins, A-frame cabins there. It's an awesome place. No TVs, only radios. It's a great place to eat. It's got great restaurants there, and you can go buy knickknacks and all kinds of other trinkets at those stores over there in Idlewild. A great place to eat, a great place to shop. We're having tremors there. It's all part of the Anza Gap here. This is Anza, California here. It's 0.3. Okay? West of there is 0.7, also Anza. We go further south. This is still Anza, 0.7 here. Right next to it is 0.9. We go east. This one is on the San Jacinto Fault here. La Quinta, California, a 1.6 tremor. Okay? This is at a resort, the La Quinta Resort here. We follow it down. This is Ocotillo Wells, California. This is a 1.2. And just east of there, Salton City. Salton City, guys. This is a ghost town now. There's no such thing as Salton City anymore. Yes, there's old buildings that have been deteriorating, people running roughshod through them, tearing them apart. A 1.3 tremor there. Okay? Further west, this is Julian, California. Julian is the Apple capital of San Diego County. This is an entirely different fault. This fault is the Elsinore fault. The Elsinore fault goes up into Orange, California. Orange County, California. And it comes all the way down here towards the Mexican border. Over here again on the San Jacinto fault. This is also 1.3 in Ocotillo Wells down here. Then we go further down, again, still on the San Jacinto fault. This is Imperial, California. Remember Monday we were talking about all those earthquakes in Imperial? Guess what? They're only talking about a 1.3 tremor here. I showed you earthquakes in Imperial on Monday. And I'm sure if I went looking for seismograms, that's exactly what I would find today. Tremors and earthquakes here in Imperial. Now let's go look at the southern side of the Salton Sea. The southern side of the Salton Sea. This is Calipatria, California. This is a 1.7 tremor. Right next to it to the east, a 1.6 in Nyland, California. Again, I showed you the seismogram from Calipatria, California. There were over 100 earthquakes on that. Close to 150 earthquakes on the Calipatria seismogram. That's because the agency refuses to be honest with us. There are earthquakes and tremors all over this valley. All over the Imperial Valley, guys. From the Salton Sea south to the Mexican border at Heber, California. Earthquakes all over this region. Hundreds of earthquakes. Hundreds of them. Down here, this is Imperial, California, 1.3. Crazy. Just crazy. Okay? They never will be honest with us. It's not in the agency's values to be honest with anybody. They never will be. Well, guys, that's the story we have to show you tonight. We haven't changed the names to protect anybody, have we? Never happened. Never, ever happened. Now, I want to go over here. I want to talk to you now about 1 Timothy again. Okay? 1 Timothy chapter 6, starting with verse 5, going through verse 12. In verse 5, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of truth. Who does that sound like? Supposing that gain is godliness, from such withdraw thyself. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveteth after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But thou, O man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life. Isn't that beautiful? Lay hold on eternal life. Not many people do that. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called. And hast professed a good profession before many witnesses. Those of us that attempt to do the right thing, people see us. There are witnesses. There are witnesses. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to leave that with you tonight. I love you all. I really do. I would not be doing this without you. It would be impossible to do. I appreciate everybody sending us information, both in emails and messaging. I really do. I go through it all. I vet it and I bring it to the air just as I've done today. I love and appreciate each one of you. You guys do a great job. I want to thank all of our mods. You guys are fabulous. You keep us online. You keep this tribe that we have here in the chat going. I love each and every one of you. Heather does weather stuff. She's awesome. Heather does our weather information. She gives me information. She gives us all information on our weather chat on Messenger. If you're not part of the emergency management chats, we have a volcano and earthquake chat. We've got weather chat. We've got political chat. And we've even got a chat for Mr. Don Patoka, who's also one of our mods. His chat thread is called Donnie's Den, where they talk about everything under the sun and then some. So join us there. Also, for those of you that are here, we also have a Discord channel. Not a lot of people are going there, but we have a Discord channel. Heather has the information on our Discord channel where you can chat 24/7. You can chat 24/7 there. It's an awesome place. I appreciate all of you who do that. You send me messages there as well. God bless you all. I appreciate all of you. You guys are God's servants. You're children of God, and you make this channel what it is. Please, folks, all of what we have talked about is very important. Please share it far and wide. Let everybody you know about it. Your family, your extended family, your friends, your neighbors, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. Share it far and wide. Let's grow this channel. Right now, folks, we have had 238 people that have subscribed to this channel in the past 28 days. That's awesome. We are all doing a great work here. We are growing this channel. Let's keep doing it. Share this channel far and wide. There's information here for everybody. We love each and every one of you. Rob is one of our mods, has been out here putting out information on how you can contact us with email. He's also given you our PayPal and our Venmo locations where you can send us support and love there. We also have a P.O. Box. P.O. Box 422 Valdese, Valdese, North Carolina. The zip code is 28690. 28690. That's how you can send support as well. I love cards and letters. Yesterday I showed 2 cards and letters that you guys sent me. And those people also sent love in the form of donations as well, which I greatly appreciate. It keeps the lights on here. It keeps us paying the bills to keep the bandwidth here to come on the air. Yes, it takes bandwidth, and it's getting more and more expensive as every day goes on. And I understand that. I totally get it. Now, folks, there's something else that I forgot to tell you about. I'm going to go back here to the USGS map really quick. Okay? Sorry about that. Something else happened here in North Carolina just before I came on the air. I want to show you this. This here, guys, is a 2.4 magnitude earthquake. They have this 2 miles north of West Canton, North Carolina. This is about an hour southwest of where I live. It's up here on top of the Eastern Continental Divide. You can see it here. It's in the Eastern Continental Divide up in the mountains. Okay? 3 days ago, we had another here, also a 2.4. Now, folks, there had been felt reports on this earthquake, so there's no way in heck that this could have been a 2.4. Normal people do not feel 2.4 earthquakes, so this had to have been at least a 3.0 plus earthquake happening here in North Carolina. Now, this is the second one this week, which probably means we're going to see more earthquakes here. And as we do, I'll keep you informed about what's going on. Yes, folks, we have felt some tremors where I live. I shouldn't say felt. I've seen water move. I've seen water in my water bottle move. I've seen water in the toilet bowl move. Okay? Both of them. So there are microquakes and tremors hitting this area all the time. Just so you know. Also, guys, something else. Over here, north of Lake Huron, okay, USGS again is not showing us this. I want to show it to you. If my EMSC map is still showing what's going on. No, it's not. Dadgummit. Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Okay? I want to show you this. This is a 3.61 earthquake just north of Lake Huron in Canada. A 3.61 earthquake north of Lake Huron in Canada. Okay? That hit. There was also one other that they've taken down. It was in Ontario, Canada. It was in Ontario, Canada. They've taken it down. So we've had 2 other earthquakes here on the eastern part of Canada. Okay? Yes, that does happen. Literally all the time. But again, USGS will never show it to us. They never do. Now, folks, this is the end of our broadcast. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. God bless you guys. Rob is showing us our Facebook Emergency Management Associates page. Yes, we're there as well. We have 17,000 people that follow that emergency management page on Facebook alone. 17,000 plus people. That's awesome. I have over 20,000 people that follow my own personal page on Facebook. I never even thought that that would happen. I have 600 plus friends, and I have over 20,000 people following my page. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Anyway, guys, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. You really are. May God bless you. May God hold you in his hands. May God be with you till we meet again. I love all of you. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. Like I said, I will come back on the air when there is more information about a larger event. If there becomes an event at Ridgecrest or wherever it's at, we'll be coming on the air again as soon as the information presents itself. So guys, have a great night. We will see you on the other side tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening will be Emergency Preparedness Friday, and I have a ton of information for you already. So take notes tomorrow night. Make sure you have notebook, paper, and pens and pencils. And let's get something cold to drink, water, a root beer, a soda. Okay, did I say soda? Because I don't hardly drink soda myself. Go figure. Yeah, I have an occasional Diet Dr. Pepper, but that's just about it. Anyway, guys, have a great night. We'll see you on the other side. Take care, everyone. Much love. See you soon. Elizabeth Hutchinson just gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. God bless you for that. We love you. We really do. She says, God bless you, Ron, always. And thank you so much, Elizabeth. God be with you. Take care, guys. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.